Boxing Doc. In the words of Conor McGregor, who the fuck is this guy? Who's Brendan Shaub? Seriously. Now I've caught a few of his podcasts when they made it to the mainstream. I've listened to what he's had to say on occasions, and it hasn't been as radical as what he's saying right now about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. He genuinely believes that McGregor is going to win this fight. And he believes that he's going to pose a problem to Floyd Mayweather that Mayweather has not seen in his 20 plus years of boxing. But first off, Brendan Shaub. I mean, who the fuck is this guy? This guy actually thinks that Conor McGregor is the A-side in this promotion. Are you kidding me? Floyd, the one that's undefeated over 2 decades, has generated about $800 million in earnings for this sport. The guy who's having the fight fought on his terms. The guy who's dictating everything about this promotion and about this fight is the guy who's the B-side? First clue that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But Brendan Shaub he's completely oblivious to this whole matchup, from the business aspect all the way down to the strategy and the tactics for this fight. Conor McGregor is the A-side. Okay, buddy. Moving on. To suggest that Conor is going to have success in this fight is to be completely ignorant of the mastery of boxing. The mastery of the sport. The amount of time and dedication it takes to reach that mastery level. And let me add that Floyd is not a master. He is a grand master. He is the master of all masters. Floyd is possibly, quite possibly, the greatest of all time when it comes to boxing. This man lands on his opponents at a connect percentage of about 40%, and his opponents land on him with a connect percentage of about 16%. That differential right there, the differential in the connect percentage dished out versus what he takes in, is about the largest differential in the sport since they started measuring that metric. This guy is no joke. I think people just like Brendan Shaub. I don't want to, be condescending to anybody else who may be tuning into this fight and may think this is competitive. But let's take Brendan Shaub, for example. I think he just simplifies it down to they both have 2 weapons in their hands, and Conor McGregor is a little bit awkward, so this is going to be a competitive fight. Again, that is completely ignoring the subtleties, the nuances, the intricacies, the complexities of boxing at the highest level. I haven't even factored in conditioning. Don't be ignorant. Don't sip the Kool-Aid that this man is sipping. Again, I don't want to come across as condescending, but when the amount of conviction this guy had behind his statements, to me, you can only be that, passionately involved and passionately believe something like that if you're disillusioned. Like, this is not, and he could be getting paid by the UFC to talk this up, but I actually think that Brendan Shaub, who the fuck is this guy? Believes what he's saying. And he has to be taught a lesson. The only thing I agreed with him on throughout his entire speech of nonsense was the fact that Conor McGregor has to come in like he comes in all his fights, and that's sit on that stance, in that martial arts type of stance where he's looking like Bruce Lee, be really loose, be really fluid, Because what that's going to do for Conor McGregor is it's going to delay his beating. The reason why is Floyd is going to take a few rounds to compute what that image is all about. He's going to compute the tendencies of Conor McGregor. He's going to compute the feints, the strategy, Conor McGregor's reactions, responses. He's going to compute all of that like he does for every other fighter. But the reason why it will take longer than possibly expected in this particular fight is because Conor McGregor is going to be looking awkward. And Floyd is probably the most cautious boxer of all time. Or at least the most cautious to do it on such a high level. And so he's going to be very keen on what Conor McGregor is doing and how he's looking before he decides to take a calculated risk. And Conor McGregor, by the way, he's a counterpuncher too. So it's not like he's going to, I mean, if he's going to fight out of his element, that's even more dangerous for him. Because I think it's going to provide Floyd with opportunities to finish the fight early. I don't think the fight's going to finish early. I think Floyd's going to coast to a 12-round decision. It's going to be a pity-pat affair, and people are going to be crying about how it's not a great fight and how it's a boring fight, much like the Pacquiao fight. You know, because Conor McGregor is a counter-puncher as well. He's not somebody who's going to come there and try to maul Floyd. But if he does, it's bad news bears for him. But Floyd is going to slowly compute what it is that Conor McGregor is trying to do. And by the fourth round onwards, he is going to slowly pick apart Conor McGregor. And I'm talking about pot shots, a little tap to the belly here, right hand in there. You know, pivot over, right hand lead. Jab, jab. Like they're going to be very clear, very accurate shots that Floyd will be landing on Conor McGregor, but nothing devastating, nothing that's going to finish off Conor McGregor. I think him coming in at 154, you know, and possibly weighing 15 pounds more on fight night, is going to do something for his punch resistance, and he's not going to get knocked out. That coupled with the fact that Mayweather does have a history of hand problems and is probably not going to be looking to punch so hard as to knock out Conor McGregor. But it's going to be a snooze fest. It's going to be easy work for the money man. And it's because of the level of mastery we're talking. There are people in this sport right now who have achieved mastery. People in boxing who have achieved mastery. But they're not grandmasters. Floyd is a grandmaster. Conor McGregor wouldn't be able to compete with the masters of this sport at his weight division, let alone the grandmaster. Conor McGregor would probably not be able to compete with amateurs at the highest level in Olympic boxing, let alone the masters of our sport at the pro level, let alone the grandmaster in Floyd Mayweather. Let's not ignore the mastery component of this. It's not as simple as two weapons and people throwing fists. It's far from that. It's far from that. We're talking about timing. We're talking about feints. We're talking about throwaway punches. We're talking about pivots. We're talking about counters. We're talking about the whole nine. The entire gamut. Brendan Shaub is clueless and does not know what he's talking about. Do not trust that guy. And if he's listening right now, yes, I'm saying that you are clueless and you do not know shit about boxing. Stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane. Alright, guys, it's the Boxing Doc signing off. If you haven't already, please do subscribe.